This video is brought to you by John Robson Guitar Tuition. If you enjoy the content, please consider supporting the channel by enrolling on a course, purchasing some guitar lessons or a t-shirt, or you can join my Patreon. Now, on with the show. Hello chaps, welcome once again to John Robson Guitar Tuition. As always, I do hope you're well. That little solo there was from the Rod Stewart version of the Cat Stevens song, The First Cut is the Deepest, which I think it's probably one of those songs where it's easier to make a list of people who haven't done a cover version of it rather than to reel off the long roster of people who have. Usually when I do these solo analysis videos, obviously I like to tell you who it was that played the solo, and in the case of like a Mark Knopfler or Gary Moore or Eric Clapton or David Gilmour solo, you know, the answer is pretty obvious really, isn't it? But you know, the clue is in the name of the artist. But on a Rod Stewart track, it's not usually that obvious, because Rod worked with many guitar players over the time. What's he called? Robin LeMessurier and Jim Cregan are two names that spring to mind. So I did a little bit of Googling, and the album that this song comes from is 1976's A Night on the Town, and the guitarists who are credited with playing on that album are Steve Cropper, no less, Billy Peake, Jesse Ed Davis, David Lindley, Fred Tackett, Pete Carr, and one Mr. Joe Walsh. And that got me thinking, is this a Joe Walsh solo? It feels like it could be, having played it and having had a look at a few other Joe Walsh solos over the years. It sort of feels like it could be. What do you think? Do you know any different? Can you confirm that, or can you come up with you know, a different explanation, or if you know for definite who played on it, then I'd be genuinely interested to find out. That's why I call this video, Did Joe Walsh Play This Solo? Not he did play the solo. Anyway, we've heard a little bit what the solo sounds like, my rendition of it anyway. Let's take a little bit of a look again at what's going on in the solo.
Solo explanation.
As always, we'll begin by looking at what we're playing over here. We're in the key of C, basically using the 1, 4 and 5 chords from that key, C, F and G. We begin with kind of a one bar kind of build up, a crescendo if you like, taking us into the solo on the G chord. Like that, and then we go into 4 rounds of this, C, F, G. Like that, that's basically what's going on. As I say, so 4 times through that, we're in the key of C major, 1, 4 and 5 chords. Clearly we're going to be using some kind of C major scale. The C major scale. C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. In reality though, the B note, which happens a couple of times, and the F note, which I think only happens once, up here when we get up to this part of the neck here, those notes are very much kind of an occasional garnish, really. So if you take the F and the B notes out of a C major scale, you end up with C major pentatonic, C, D, E, G, A. So let's start having a look at these licks. And with all that talk of C major scale and C major pentatonic, ironically we don't begin on that at all. Over that initial build up on the G chord, we play a G major pentatonic ascending run that goes like this. Like that there, so just that basic kind of fairly familiar little major pentatonic run beginning on the G note. But that does take us through to this C note here. And that's when we're into the solo proper at the beginning of that first C, F, G cycle. So we get... Then a lick that when I first heard it, it sounded immediately familiar. I thought it was going to be something like that kind of thing, that sort of hybrid picking country sixths kind of stuff, but it's actually done with a bend. It's bend this D note up to an E at the 7th fret on the G string, and then grab the C note at the top there. So it's same notes as, but it's done more of as a bendy kind of lick. And then finishing on that G to A and back to G, bendy kind of thing there after that. So that whole first part of the solo goes like that. I'll play that slowly. And then that's pretty much business concluded down there. We then come up to what is essentially a little bit of this C major pentatonic pattern that would be up at the 12th fret. We're not hanging around there. It's just like a sort of a launch pad to take us where we're going next. There's that F note that I mentioned. And then the rest of the solo from here on in, beg your pardon, I haven't had enough coffee yet, is coming out of that same pattern 1 box shape that we looked at down there, but an octave higher. So after we now have a little bit of bendy shenanigans here. Essentially that same bend we were doing earlier down there. And then just kind of getting up to this high C note here and bending it up to a D, which coincidentally we're doing because by that point in that part of the solo we've reached the G chord, which has a D note in it, so there's some awareness of chord note targeting going on here. And then we kind of round the solo off really with some more of this kind of bendy stuff going on here. 20th fret G note on the B string, and just bending it and catching the 20th fret C note on the top E string here. Just basically kind of filling up space with that repeated bend, and then we just do a little descending sequence lick. To finish on this G note here. So that whole kind of thing is that last little bit of it rather. And that's the solo. Simplicity itself, but massively, massively effective and memorable. Most other versions of this song that I've heard subsequent to this Rod Stewart version, the solo is always seemingly rooted in these licks that are played here. So whoever it was it Joe Walsh? I don't know. Whoever it was that played this solo, did kind of set out a nice blueprint for other people to maybe not stick to 100%, but certainly to follow. So there you go. Now you know what's going on. Go away and have some fun with it yourself. And as always, you'll find a full tab in both Guitar Pro and PDF formats for the solo. The clip of me playing it, that explanation you've just seen there, and a backing track to play along with yourself. All of that is up on my Patreon page. There's the address, link in the description. £3 a month or $3 a month, and you get access to all of these additional goodies that go along along with these YouTube videos. A massive thank you to everyone who supports me in that or any of the other ways, all of which are linked down in the description. And that's pretty much it for today, folks. Hope you've enjoyed the video and found it useful, entertaining and informative in some small way. And if that's the case, please hit the subscribe button and the notification bell if you haven't already done so. And why not drop me a like as well while you're at it. Don't forget the live stream every Friday, 5 PM UK time. We drink beer and talk about music and guitars and whatever else crops up, basically. It's a great way to kick off the weekend, and I'd love to see you there if you can make it. But for now, I'll bid you all a good day and say thank you so much for watching. Thank you for your time. Look after yourselves, folks. Stay well, stay safe, and above all, stay sane. Bye for now.